What is a surveillance state? A surveillance state is a country that enforces, or at the very least, brings legislations that allows the government and internet service providers to look at what you search for, shop for, the videos and pictures you consume. The search engine you use also collects a lot of data if it is not a privacy-friendly one. Take Google or Microsoft Bing for example. Not only that, surveillance states also red flag some things like Tor as being suspicious, even if the user is not doing anything bad, and some countries have stricter and harsher data retention laws than others. Take Australia for example. Over there, data can be stored for up to 2 years before being deleted. This means that even if you clear your browsing history, your logs are still visible to your ISP and authorities, that is, if they decide to look into it, or something like that. And for your information, if you live in a Five Eyes country, these are America, the United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, this means you're already living in what's known as a surveillance state. But the thing is, surveillance is not always a bad thing. Nor can it also always be a good thing, because some countries have stricter rules which can seem or be deemed unfair in some cases, while others have much more reasonable laws. Take the European Union for example. Most countries, but not all, in Europe, only store users' data for up to 6 to 12 months in most cases. Some countries like Romania have had no reported or claimed surveillance. However, this does not mean the Romanian government does not have surveillance on their citizens, and it, like most other countries, would possibly be a surveillance state, but the laws might not be enforced or as strict as other countries. And for your information, Nine Eyes countries are extensions of the Five Eyes countries, which also are surveillance states. Nine-eyed countries include the Netherlands, France, Denmark, Norway, and potentially other places too. The only countries where surveillance is fully encompassing are ones like China and Iraq. They have total control over what the citizens can and cannot do, up to and including sending officers to raid residents' houses for no apparent reasons, which in my opinion is quite unnecessary and also somewhat extreme, but that's the conditions those poor people are subjected to in such places. Even if Australia has somewhat restrictive data retention laws, at least the citizens there have freedom to use VPNs, the Tor browser, and have access to the rest of the world as to seek information about various things. So while the data retention laws over there and in other five-eyed countries might be fairly strict, you can still have some privacy if you take simple yet effective precautions. These include using a more private search engine. This can be DuckDuckGo, Ecosa, Swisscows, Jibiru, or other such private search engines. Another precaution to take is to use a more privacy-friendly browser such as Brave, LibreWolf, WaterFox, or for the maximum amount of privacy and anonymity, the Tor browser, but that's also more for browsing onion sites, so unless you want to do that, just use something that's more privacy-respecting. Another noteworthy precaution is to use a virtual private network, VPN, which hides your activity from your internet service provider, ISP, and government. So if you're using Tor in a surveillance state for example, you would need to use a VPN to hide it to prevent your ISP and authorities red flagging. Always remember this, anything you say or do can and most likely will be used against you in a court of law, so unless you're okay with your ISP seeing the naughty stuff you consume, you should be hiding yourself under something. It is also important to note that even with strict data retention laws, not all of it is bad. However, a lot of countries have laws that are far too strict in my opinion, but with simple, effective precautions and measures, you can rest assured that your data is safe, and no one is secretly prying in on your precious data or content. This is why I highly recommend you ditch Google and use some other search engine instead. My top picks are DuckDuckGo, Ecosa, Swisscows, Brave Search, Jibiru, and other privacy-respecting search engines. I also would recommend you do this in combination with using a VPN and a privacy-respectful browser for the best possible privacy, but even then, you're not anonymous. You can never be anonymous in this online world. and even the most private of companies can sometimes be the worst ones to trust your data with, but if the company has a tried and true no logs policy, along with other privacy-focused and respecting boundaries and rules, you can rest assured it is safe. Take Proton VPN and Proton Mail for instance. You can assume you're pretty well safe because they are a Swiss-based company, and Switzerland does not have restrictive data retention laws, and if you're in another country, even if they did collect some form of logs, it would be rather useless and a major hassle to go through the hassle of getting the company to hand over the data, and I can guarantee you Proton do not keep logs when you're using their products, nor are they leaking it out or selling it, and with search engines like Ecosa, DuckDuckGo, Scows, and Gibiru, you can certainly minimize the amount of data collected by your ISP, but you cannot prevent all of it from being visible unless you use a privacy tool. Alrighty, that's it for this video folks. I hope you found this video to be educational and hopefully, you too will take some simple privacy precautions to prevent prying eyes from knowing absolutely everything about you. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.